Hi, my name is Bruce, and this is the third lesson of my C++ tutorial. This tutorial will cover how to build a basic Hello World program. A Hello World program is a program that simply writes out to the screen, Hello World. The way C++ works is that it reads your source code like a book, from left to right, top to bottom. So if, for example, you have the following code, cat, dog, bird, fish, the way C++ would read this is it would read cat, then it would read fish, then dog, then bird, just like a book from top left to bottom right. In order to begin writing our program, we must define an entry point for the program. The entry point is where the C++ code will begin its execution. In C++, the entry point is always a function called main. So we're going to define our main function now. To do that, you type int space main, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, open curly brace, close curly brace. Now what this says is I have a function called main that takes 0 parameters and returns an int. An int is short for the word integer. An integer is a whole number. So numbers like -7, 0, 42, 2000 are all valid integers. Numbers like 3.14 and 5.5 or 2.5 are not valid integers. So our function isn't done yet. We said we were going to return an int, but we haven't done that yet. So type return 0 semicolon, because 0 is a valid integer. And notice that I typed the return 0 inside of the curly braces here, and not outside of the curly braces. Any code that is inside of these two curly braces is considered to be part of main, whereas any code outside of these curly braces is not considered to be a part of main. So for example, if I have some other code here, it's not part of main because it's not within these curly braces. And if I have it up here, some other code, it's also not part of main because once again, it's not between these curly braces. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this and this. But if you had it here, some other code, now it's part of main because it does fall within the two curly braces. This is called scope, and that's something that will be covered in a later tutorial. So now I'm going to show how to build and run this program. In code blocks, there's 3 ways that you can build and run a program. The first way is to find the build and run button. I've found that from different versions of code blocks, the button tends to move around, but it looks usually like a gear with a play button. The second way is you can go to the build menu and click on build and run. And the third way is you can just hit F9. So let's build and run it. And we see we have a program that pops up. It doesn't say hello world because we haven't coded that yet. But you'll see that it says the process returned 0, which is what we told it to return, so that's good. And it doesn't have to be 0, it can be any integer we want. It can be -7, it can be 2000, it could be 42, whatever you want. We'll just stick with 42. I'm going to build and run it. Process returned 42, exactly what I told it, so that's awesome. So now we have our main function defined and ready. We just need to make it say hello world to the screen. To do that, we are going to need some help. C++ by default comes with a standard library that we can use to do things. One of those helps us to write things out to the screen. We are going to include that ability in our code and then use it. And to do that, we're going to go at the top, before main, we're going to type # include space less than IOStream greater than. And then on the next line, we're going to type using namespace std, which is short for the word standard. So what these 2 lines of code do is they say, I am including a file called IOStream, and then this line says, I am using the namespace standard std. I won't be explaining in detail what these 2 lines of code do beyond that for now. Those lessons are for a later tutorial. Just know that these 2 lines of code have now provided us with the tool we need to write things out to the console screen. So back in main, type the following, with inside of main, before the return 42, because return 42 is the last thing we do. we are going to type cout less than quote hello world quote semicolon. Now what this says is I want to write out to the console the words hello world. Cout is a short abbreviation for console output. And the way cout works is it's kind of like a black hole in that it sucks in something and then spews it out to the screen. So whatever it sucks in gets spewed out to the screen. So you see here with this example, cout hello world, it would be like cout hello world. And you would look on the screen and you'd see that the words hello world have appeared. So let's go ahead and build and run this. And sure enough, there it is. Hello world, process returned 42, just like we told it. Now if you don't like the words hello world, you can make it say just about anything you want. Like the rain in Spain stays mainly in the plains. Build and run. And sure enough, there it is. The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plains. Process returned 42. But because this is a hello world project example, I'm going to make mine just say hello world. Build, run, and there it is, hello world. Process returned 42. This completes the tutorial. The code for this tutorial will be available on my site for download. The link will be provided in the video description below. The next tutorial will be covering what happens when you build a program, which will include what that pound include at the top is doing. Thank you for watching.